Hello, third grade. As we go through our math skill for today, I want you to make sure that you are writing along with us. And if I if I write anything on any of the pages, you need to have the same thing on yours, writing and following along. Let's go ahead and begin. We're going to look at how you can find the area of a figure.
Mike wants to paint a wall in his room. A small can of paint covers 40 square feet. Does Mike need more than one small can to paint a rectangular wall of his room? We can see that the length of this rectangle is 8 feet and the width of this rectangle is 6 feet. And we only have 40 square feet that we can cover. Let's find out if that will cover the whole area. One way is to count the square units, and we've been practicing this in past parts. So we could count up 40 to see how much that would cover. There are a total of 48 square units. If we counted everyone, there will be 48. I want you on your page to write out and count out those 48 boxes. Count out those 48 boxes. And pause the video if you need to. Continue. Another way is to count the number of rows and multiply by the number in each row. We've been working on finding the rows and the columns,
and then multiplying by that many. So we have 8 rows and 6 squares, 6 in each row, 6 columns. Eight rows and 6 columns. And we can multiply 8 times 6 to find the area, which is quicker than writing down like you just did. It takes a long time to count all of this out. And 8 times 6 is 48. So if we have 40 square feet we can cover, is that enough to cover 48? No, not. My question. Will Mike need more paint? He will need more paint. How much paint will he need? He will probably need 2 buckets to cover one full wall because he'll have to cover 48 square feet. Now we're going to do this convince me part today. And it says Mike plans to paint a wall in his living room blue. That wall measures 10 feet tall and 8 feet wide. What is the area of the wall Mike plans to paint blue? So first we can draw this shape. By making a rectangle to represent our wall. And it tells us that it is 10 feet tall. Tall is another way for saying the height. So it is 10 feet tall and 8 feet wide. Wide is another way to say width. 10 feet wide. To find the area, we multiply the length times the width. What is 10 feet times 8 feet? I want you to write this out on your page and then write out how much that equals in square. Remember, area is always in squares, and then our unit, square feet. So find what 10 times 8 is and write that in the blank. Make sure you fill out the other parts with me as well. We're going to practice using the length and the width to find missing sides and the area. At the top, I want you to write out how to find area. So write out that area equals length times width. That can also be written the other way, that length times width equals area. We can use this information to help us plug it in the bottom. Make sure you write that out on the top. So we can see in this example how we might use that and fact families. The area of another wall in Mike's room is 56 square feet. The wall is 8 feet high, and we don't know how wide it is. So we have a missing part. We have our area, 56, so we plug that in. Our length, we plug that in, but we don't know the width. When we are trying to solve for a question mark or a missing number, we are trying to get that question mark by itself. So we can change our multiplication problem into a division problem. Remember, we have our total, our number of groups, and the number in each. In a division problem, we have our total divided by the number of groups equals how many in each. In this case, it will be how many columns or the width. So we can reorganize that and we can find out 56 divided by 8 equals 7. We can do that by making 8 groups and sharing 56, or adding 8 until we get to 56. Let's do these practice ones together. Suji's garden is 4 yards long and 3 yards wide. What is the area? So I know from how we find area that length times width equals area. My length, I see that keyword long means length, is 4. And my width, I see the keyword wide to tell me that it is the width, is my width. So I know that 4, and these are yards, times 4 yards. Make sure you're typing this out with me. Pardon me. Equals area. Now I know because I've been practicing my 4s that 4 times 4 equals 16. Now I'm not done because area is always in squared units. So it's 16 squared, and our units are yards, squared yards. Make sure you have this typed out. Number 2. The area of Mitchie's garden is 32 square feet. The garden is 8 feet long. How wide is Mitchie's garden? All right, so I'll find my area. I'm going to color each part to help me remember where it needs to go in my number sentence. So they told me that the area is 32 square feet. Make sure you have that highlighted in pink or red. And in blue, I can highlight my length, 8 feet long. That long tells me that that's my length. Now my missing number is my width. I do not have my green. I'm going to set another sample up here. So we have length times width equals area. And I'll show you the color coding for these. So length is, we're going to highlight in blue. Width, we're going to highlight in green. And area we'll highlight in pink or red. So I can start filling these parts out. So I have my length, 8 feet. I do not know what my width is, but I know my area is 32 square feet. Now I can't answer this multiplication problem because we have a missing number. When we have a missing number, I need to get that missing number all by itself to answer the problem, and I can use fact families to do that. So I know that I can flip around a multiplication problem to make it a division problem by putting the largest or the total first. So I'll put my total first, and I can divide that by the amount of groups. I have that in blue to find the width. So do you see how I just moved around those different parts to get the question mark by itself? So I moved the area first, the length second, so then I can find the width. Now I know, because I've been practicing my fours, that 4 times 8 is 32. So I know my missing number is 4 feet. Now it is not 4 squared feet because this is the width. This is not the area. 4 feet. Make sure you have that down. For number 3 and number 4, we're going to move pretty quickly. And you do not have many you have to do today. I know this is a long video, but make sure that you are still following along. If you need to stretch your body, pause the video and then come back. All right, so we are still multiplying the length times the width equals the area. So I have my width, I have my length, and I need to find the area. So I'm going to multiply the length times the width. 3 inches times 7 inches. Now I've been practicing my threes, so I know that 3 times 7 is 21. And it's my area, so it has to be in squared feet. Sorry, squared inches was my unit, inches. Number 4, 9 times 6. I know that I am multiplying the length times the width. I have them both right there to find the area. 9 feet times 6 feet equals, and I know my nines trick from putting up my fingers and putting down the 6th finger. There are 5 in the tens place and 4 in the ones place. And that's my area, so that is in squared feet. Make sure you have all of this written down, just like I do. For your independent practice today, there are 3 questions. This last one